Hey guys, so we're going to pick up where we left off with the last training call last week, and we're going to talk about handling questions and objections. So keep in mind that we're sorting apples, and by that I mean that the people that we're reaching out to and contacting are going to fall into one of three categories. The first category being a red apple, and that's about 10% of those people. And they're open, they're interested, and they're easy, and they do not require training. The next category is green apple, and that's about 80% of the people that we're reaching out to. And they have some level of interest, but they're going to have questions. And then the last category is rotten apple. And the rotten apples are about 10%, and they're never going to be interested, and they're always going to be negative. I'm going to keep looking over to the right here to check my time. I want to do this in 15-minute intervals. So, okay. So the way that the prospect reacts to your initial reach out will be a good indication of which category they're going to fall into. Like I said, the majority of the people are going to fall into that green apple category, and they're going to have some sort of question. So when they ask you that question, just don't cave in. The first time someone asks you a question, don't go right into presentation mode. Remember that there is a right way to do this. And questions are a good thing. They indicate interest. So there's only a few questions that you need to answer directly. One of them, if they ask, is this ABC company? Just say, it is. What do you know about them? Don't assume that they mean it in a negative way. If they do find out the company name and it raises some resistance with them at all, that means they're not a prospect. Always remember that this is sorting, not selling. So some of the common questions that are asked, or like, what is it? So you can say, and you can refer to your script formula that I had posted on the team page. If they say, what is it? Say, it's a new business, I just started, a new project that I'm working on, or a new product that I just tried. It's visual, you really need to see it. If they ask you, can you send me information? You could say, I've got a short video or a call that can explain everything. Let's set up a time to chat before, so I can share a few things with you before you watch or listen. If they object, if they raise an objection, just back up and just say, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just excited about something and wanted to share it with you. It may or may not be for you. I'd love to get your opinion either way. So those are some of the questions. So if they don't want to get on the phone with you and they want more information up front, just send them a third-party tool and follow up after. So what if they stop responding to you? Oftentimes you start the process with someone, and at some point the exchange or the messages kind of go radio silent. Wait a day or two before you message them again, because you don't want to come across as too pushy. If you know them well, message them a question like, are you okay? That usually gets a response. If you don't know them well, then wait a day and just shoot them a simple follow-up message like, I wasn't sure you saw my last message. Really looking forward to follow up whenever that might be. Keep in mind that if you're saying less to more people, these unresponsive prospects will not really matter in the grand scheme of things, because you're going to have more people in the pipeline that you're going to be talking to. So in the last video, we talked about some of the different approaches. I mentioned warm market, opinion approach, networking approach, the I totally screwed up approach, the checking back in approach, the market research approach. I would strongly suggest that you take a look at the script PDF that I had, like I said, that I had posted on the team page, so you can get an idea of what to say in each one of those scenarios and tailor it to that conversation or that person. I am going to go over 2 additional approaches right now. There is the hot market approach. That is a customer-focused approach that you want to use on close family and friends. So you could say, hey, Patty, how is everything? The reason I'm reaching out to you is because I just started a new business and I could really use your help. I'm not asking you to join or become a customer, but could use your support with something. I need 5, 10, or whatever number you come up with, trial customers for marketing support. I would like to ask you to buy a 30-day supply, or 60-day in our case, because we have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So we could technically ask them to try it for 60 days, and they can get their money back. Just ask them to use it, and then ask them for their feedback. Tell them it would really help me market this product. And then you could explain the product. It's a whatever it is, and it costs for how much ever it costs for the 30-day supply. And you could say, if you like it, you can become a customer. If you don't, I'll never bother you again about it. And then ask them, can I count on you to help me out? So that is the hot market approach. Other direct approaches. You could say, do you look at other ways of making money outside of what you're currently doing? Do you keep other business options open? Would you be open to a side project that could create some additional recurring revenue for you if it didn't take away from what you're currently doing? Or you could say, I'm on to something really big and I just want to let you know what I'm doing. And if this goes half as well as I think it might, I don't want you to be angry for me not saying anything to you. So those are a couple of additional approaches that you can take. Okay. So we talked about high tech and high touch. The high touch part is getting them offline and speaking to them and meeting them. So live interactions with prospects are very, very important. So you connect online and you take them offline as quickly as possible. So with regard to phone calls with the prospects, you have to get over the fear of getting on the phone with people. You have to learn to create live interactions with people so that you're prospecting on social media and get over that fear. So set up a quick phone call before you give them the third-party tool. It'll make whatever you're doing 100 times more effective. You can send the third party before you get on the phone, but it's more effective to get on the phone first. This is designed to change the context in which the prospect is going to listen to you and listen to that tool. And because you're giving that tool value by speaking to them first, you're creating excitement, you're creating curiosity, and you're going to get better results by doing that. If they're not willing to get on the phone with you, then just send the third-party tool and explain it in the follow-up. So what do you say? So here we're going to go over Bob's invitation formula. It works in any scenario, product, or opportunity, cold or warm market. If you aren't able to get the prospect to agree to a live interaction, you could do a modified version over Facebook Messenger or text. The key to it is practice and then take action. Practice and apply what you learned and keep doing it, and that will result in mastery. So there's 5 steps to his invitation formula. The first step, introduction. Be in a hurry. Make it 10 minutes max on the phone. It allows you to leverage the law of numbers, which we had talked about in that first training video. Saying less to more people and be more effective with your time. That's really what you want to do. So here's an example. I know that we need to catch up, but there's a reason why I'm calling you. Set that tone from the beginning. You need to address why you're calling first to keep that interest. It creates urgency. So you could also say, I came across something that I'm really excited about and I thought of you. So the second part of the invitation formula is sharing your personal story. So you can say, let me share what's been going on my end. Or I'm not sure if you can relate, but here's what's been happening with me. You need a transition statement to get into your story. So your personal story is one of the most powerful weapons you have when it comes to prospecting and when it comes to recruiting. And remember that. It's one of the most powerful weapons. So I see people doing this all the time. They're sharing their personal story on Facebook, and they're getting so many comments, so many likes, and it's so powerful. So what it does is it creates curiosity and allows you to relate to that prospect. So for the purpose of this formula, you really need to keep your story no longer than 60 seconds because Your prospect doesn't care about you, they care about what you can do for them. So you can certainly share more of your story after the initial exposure. So here's some elements of crafting your personal story. The first one, tell them your background, your profession. The second part, tell them what you don't like about your current job or business that led you to your current company. Like an example was you work harder for less money, something to that effect. Always think about the 3 areas of lack for people. They have lack of time, lack of money, and lack of security. So hit on these 3 things when you share what you don't like about your own profession. And that opens them up to share with you. So, and then the third element of crafting your personal story. Talk to them about how your company presented a solution to your problems. Tell them that you found a company that will finally pay me what I'm worth, can give me free time back, build something for myself, give me more security. The prospect is going to start to wonder if it will help them. The last element of crafting your personal story. What do you see this business providing for you in the future? You can talk about it's giving you financial freedom and stability. Write all of this out. Practice it, make it short, and make it impactful. So the third element of the invitation formula is compliment the prospect. Giving a general compliment does 2 things. Number 1, it answers the question why you're calling them. Number 2, it's going to lower resistance. So here's something you could say. I've always admired about how ambitious you are. You've always been someone I can count on. Or you could say, I admire the success you've created for yourself. It makes the prospect feel good and lowers their resistance even more. The 3 phrases that are really, really, really important. Here's the first one. It may or may not be for you. It's very powerful because it's leaving that door open for them. It's letting that person know that you don't need them, and it takes the pressure off of them. The second phrase, would you be open? The third phrase, if I, fill in the blank, would you, fill in the blank? So here's an example. If I sent you a video, would you watch it? If I gave you a sample, would you try it? Okay. So the 5th element of the invitation formula, schedule the exposure. It's critical that you schedule a specific time to follow up with the prospect after they've seen or heard that third-party tool. So important. Ask them, when do you think you can look at it? Or ask them if they can watch it right now. But make sure that your follow-up is already scheduled. If you aren't able to schedule a specific time to follow up, then ask them, sorry, I just said that. Pardon me. I'm getting confused with my notes. Okay, so you could say, if you don't think you can watch it within the next few weeks, why don't I follow up with you? Within the next week, why don't I follow up with you in the week? One of the biggest mistakes that people make is giving away that third-party tool without scheduling a follow-up, and then they end up chasing the prospect. Always ask if they have a couple of minutes right now to take a look and listen to that tool. If they don't, then you could say, when do you think you'll have a chance to look it over, listen? Get that day and time and schedule it, and then get off the phone. So here's a couple of, let me just check my time here. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to actually end this video right here, and then I'm going to pick it up in the next video. So thanks for joining me. I'll be back.